Hey, welcome back to the Milton Price Report. This is the October 2014 edition. My name is Chuck Charlton with the Charlton Advantage Real Estate Team in Milton, Ontario. And so we do an update on this report once a month. And really what we try and do is just give you some perspective, some things to notice in the report that may not be as obvious if you were just going through on your own. So our team is six people, 4 realtors and then 2 admin. What's really different about us is you can see Annette down here is our matchmaker. So if we have a listing, we're going out to find the buyer. We're canvassing agents. We have a list of about 120 agents that have done more than 2 transactions in Milton. We're sending a message to those realtors. If we have a buyer, we're canvassing neighborhoods, looking for stuff that's not on the market. We do that quite often, and so that's one of the big complaints about realtors is they're not proactive. They do what's called the 3 Ps of real estate, which is put it on MLS and then put up a sign and then pray someone else sells it. And I just think that there's such a bigger opportunity that exists out there. And so we do a lot of things to expose a property. We've got a list of about 13,000 names and email addresses from our Milton Daily Homes episodes, which we've been doing since 2010. We've been building that list for years. So before the sign even goes up, we have between 13 and 15,000 people that know about your property from all of our efforts. So what that means is that the needle goes up, the demand, everything happens at a faster pace, and so often you can get sold faster and for more money because the interest just gets concentrated so much more. So if you want some information about that, give us a call. The report, take it with a little bit of caution because it's not going to tell you, is this the right time for you? It's not going to say what price should you list for. Despite knowing a range of value, how do you kind of get in at the right space in the market? What do you do for your home to get it ready? We have a pinpoint price analysis for value. We also have a room by room review, which will show you the things that you should, and even more important, that you shouldn't do in order to get the top dollar for your house. We reorganized this report. We talked about the graphs and how to interpret them, average days on market, which really gives you the overall strength of the market. But it's not the only thing to look at. Number of sales, active listings, and new listings. In future months, we're going to combine those graphs because we've been playing around with them, and there's some interesting things that come when you actually put them in the same graph. And then the average price, we give you a little bit of a caution about what to look for there, and we'll talk about that when we get to the graph. So days on the market, lower in the spring, a little bit higher here. They peak out towards the winter and also at the end of summer. That doesn't mean it's a bad time to list in the falls. And that's the thing about looking at these big numbers is that you might find that days on the market for townhouses right now is actually very low. Maybe detached double garage is high. So everything can be subject to further review and further specificity for your type of home. Number of sales, what we've seen is that number of sales and also the active listings have trailed a little bit behind. So we've started to see a bit of a shift this year because of the poor winter. Active listings have been basically midpoint, but it's been way lower than 2013. And so we've continued all year to have a little bit of an inventory shortage, which has combined with low interest rates, it has no other option but to raise the prices really. So new listings have been a little bit higher in September, so we're starting to see selection open up a little bit in the fall, and so that could be good news for buyers. Average sale price, you look at this and say, well, the spring is obviously the right time, or maybe the fall, but the problem with this is that if the larger homes are selling, it's going to push the price up. So what I always look at in these graphs is what's the difference year over year. So I could have predicted this year was going to really jump up in price because of the difference between 2012 and 2013 was so little. It was going to catch up combined with the lower interest rates. What does the future hold? It looks like things are going to remain pretty consistent for the next 3 to 6 months for interest rates. If they change them too much, it's going to mess a lot of people up. So we don't anticipate a lot of difference. Milton has been remarkably consistent over the last few years. You could really set your watch to the consistency we've seen in the marketplace. So really every season in Milton has pros and cons in terms of amount of competition, price point, all the different factors that exist out there. It really requires probably an in-person meeting with us or somebody else who really knows their stuff to say, okay, this is or it's not the right time to maybe put things out there. So last month, about 67% of homes sold in that month. So it's not 100% as most people think. It's not a guarantee when you list your home that it's going to sell. So really need to look at it and say, do you want to be the two that do sell or the one that doesn't sell? There are some ways to increase your odds. And exposure is where it all starts, and also making sure that your home looks its best. Condo towns, average price of $283. That's why pretty much all of them are selling. Days on market for both types of condos increases a little bit because it takes up to 2 weeks or more to get the status certificate and also to have a lawyer to review it. So most of these places, if they're priced well, are getting an offer within about 14 days. And then it's just the waiting period after that. Condo apartments, we had 21 come out in September, so there was a little bit of a flood in the market. We also saw a higher price point than we have for most of the other 6 months. And days on the market is still pretty good. I would look in October, days on the market is probably going to increase because of those 21 listings, of which only 12 sold. Freehold towns, 407, 412 is the median price. Because there's such a huge difference between the condo towns and the freehold towns, yes, there's condo fees in the condo towns, but they're still basically competitive when you look at out-of-pocket expense. It's still more expensive to buy a freehold town. They do tend to appreciate a little bit faster. Semi-detached homes were about 70%, very healthy days on market. And then detached homes, this one can cover a pretty broad spectrum because you can go all the way from 1,100 square foot single car garage all the way up to 4,000 square foot double and triple car garages. So the average on here is about 52% of them sell in any given month. So detached in some ways can be the most competitive price range in Milton. And as we move up in the price range, it becomes harder and harder to sell. The percent of listings to sales actually goes down quite a bit. So I put a bit of a write-up about us, so feel free to read that. That's a new section in this month's report. And just some things that people have said about us. So we've really tried to kind of dial things in. And if you want even more specific, you can go onto the website and you can get all the individual links. You can watch this video, download the PDF. There's a lot of great resources on the online site. And then the 3 things you can do next, you can ask us for a pinpoint price analysis, and we can even guarantee to sell your home at that price in less than 60 days. The room-by-room review, and then also the silent market. Maybe you're not quite ready to list on MLS, but you want some exposure either to the realtors who have actually sold homes, of which there's about 120 that have sold more than 2 in the last 12 months. A lot of people think it's more, but there's a lot of one-off agents. Half of our industry sold 1 or 0 homes last year, so there's a lot of part-time people. There's a lot of people who really, at the end of the day, don't have the kind of experience that you need to sell your house. And so we can expose it to the Milton Daily Homes list, past clients. There's a lot of Facebook. There's a lot of ways that we can get a lot of traffic to get some eyeballs on your property. So if you're interested, you can call us or you can email me, chuck@charltonadvantage.com, and we're here to help. So if you have any questions, reach out. Okay, so that's it. Enjoy the report, and we'll see you next month with more price report fun. See you later.